Well, hello there.
Hello.
First and foremost, I want to thank everybody for the anniversary wishes on that post I made. I definitely let her know about all of the comments you guys put up. She likes y'all better than she likes me now, so thank you. On a serious note, she did smile, which is everything to me. And I really appreciate it. S2 Underground is back finally, which is everything also. I don't know if you've seen their most recent update, but they dropped one today. And I'm able to say that because this is the 6th time I'm doing this video now. Things are constantly happening and I need for them to stop. But a lot of people want to know my thoughts on the election. I'm going to cover them, but you have to understand I have to be very careful because of who pays the bills.
Okay.
So with that in mind, and I'm less than 4 years out from retirement, which is huge, so we'll do what we can in the meantime.
Okay.
So the election was terrible. And by that I mean we allowed people that lied to us this entire time and trusted polls that were wrong this entire time to tell us that there was going to be a red wave. Everybody bought it hook, line, and sinker. It has made a victory feel less of a victory and cheaper. A few takeaways. All of the Democrat-controlled areas that allow ballot harvesting or late counting or any of this stuff all broke Democrat somehow.
What? Oh my God! Who told you?
You had a very rare case with Lauren Boebert's race where, first off, I don't know if you saw this in the news, but they said, hey, there's about 1,200 Democrat ballots that are wrong. We're going to contact them. There's no Republican ballots that were wrong? Just Democrat ballots? I don't know about that. Which is probably why they don't want the recount to happen. Even though there's supposed to be an automatically triggered recount, the Democrats are like, no, we're good. And when have you ever heard that? I also think that Democrat candidate wasn't a huge team player with the current Democrat regime, so that's why they didn't back him up so much. They kind of pushed for him initially, and then they're like, we can take this L, no big deal. But Arizona, Nevada, and Pennsylvania, y'all are fucked up really bad. There's a lot of things that are not okay going on as far as ballot harvesting and all that other stuff. And did you notice how the crazy cat lady had an algorithmic lead almost the entire race in Arizona? And that doesn't make sense to me. Also, the ballot shenanigans and all that missed election. Also in Arizona, how the fuck did your treasurer get 1 point seats based on cheating and fuckery everywhere? Some states had very clean, even elections. There's always going to be some people trying to influence and cheat. But the Democrats did do 3 things well. They weaponized and mobilized the youth vote. I saw ads for it the whole time. And I knew that was going to be a big factor because they'll believe anything they're told. All you got to do is sell them a sob story. Almost all of us that are conservative now were some sort of liberal when we were in high school. Or the first couple years in college. Very few people start out conservative. And that's something that we need to understand. 2, obviously, ballot harvesting, mail-in ballots, and curing ballots only for Democrats, again, like in Colorado. We have to start playing that game. It just is what it is. It's dirty, it's ugly, it's trash, but we have to start playing their game. And once we win with their tools, then they'll want to ban it. And Democrats also dominated the, oops, we messed up. We totally didn't do that on purpose. That was an accident. Like mailing out 250,000 incorrect ballots and all sorts of other stuff. It's just, and again, Maricopa County, Arizona, how many oops? We knew this election was coming for 2 years, but this machine's broken. Like, come on, dude. How many times? And put it in box 3. It'll totally get counted. We're going to send it downtown where there's going to be a Republican and a Democrat. Oops. Ballots from that box got commingled with already counted ballots. Uh-oh. Like, motherfucker, we know what you're doing. Stop it.
Stop it. Get some help.
Going on. Eventually, people are going to come back to, and there's about 3 or 4 guys that just, every time I make a video stuff, it's just, we have a dialogue back and forth. And I really appreciate and respect that. Even though people disagree with me vehemently on something, we can have an intelligent, calm discussion about it. Which I'm sure you can appreciate is very rare nowadays. But what I'm going to say to that is voting was successful in areas where they fixed the voting system. And even the people that disagree with me still vote, which I appreciate. I'm not going to speak for all of them. I know it is. They got to go through you because you are always going to show up, no matter what. You can't rest on one success. You can't let one setback or loss stop you from continuing to push forward. Absolutely learn what that loss taught you, but don't give up because of it. So off my soapbox, a lot of crazy things about to happen. Gas is going to go through the roof. Energy and food are going to be stressful. Go out there, supply yourselves. I know things are getting more expensive too, and we're just at the beginning of this recession. Things are going to get real tough. Again, you can't let it knock you down. You can't let it be what stops you from being great. Sometimes just surviving and being defiant and being there when times get good again is a victory. So prioritize, do a budget, save money, family, food, shelter, water, ammo, and finances. Make sure that you're saving money, you're taking care of yourself. Even if you save $5 a paycheck or something, make sure you're putting money away. Make sure you're buying a little bit of ammo every time you can. Make a budget, stick to it, because that's what's needed. It's not fair. I've had to drastically